slow down.
Good morning. This is the day 2 of the media drive for the new 2020 Proton X70 5-seater SUV. This was launched at the end of 2018. Was it early 2019? Has been about 13 months and all. Proton has sold about 29,000 units of this first round of X70, but now we are in the second variant of it, 2.0 in some ways, because it's now locally assembled here in Malaysia. It's no longer a CVU completely brought in unit. It's now locally assembled. So exterior wise, there have been no changes whatsoever except that it now uses the new Proton badge up front. So the grille now has a new badge. The new Tiger is now more horizontal, you know that Tiger logo, they just launched it and all some early last year. So externally you just get that new logo. The new logo is also on the steering boss in the middle, so you see the new Tiger logo of Proton inside also. So, and that's about it. Why there have been no changes? Because since they only sold 29,000 units, cost has not been amortized, if you think about it. Maybe 60,000 units and all, about 2 years plus worth of production, then it's worth to do more upgrades or more refresh in terms of looks. Anyway, it still looks fresh. The design of this Geely Boyu based X70 is actually still quite fresh. And 1 year, what do you expect? Anyway, okay, next is it gets a new power tailgate at the rear. So it has a foot sensor. That means if you put your foot under the bumper, the rear bumper, the tailgate will open up. Unfortunately, or it does not like to recognize my foot as well as the guy behind me. His foot somehow works better than my one. It doesn't work on mine. Sometimes I say a 50% chance of the tailgate not opening when I kick or put my foot underneath the bumper of the car. So maybe that's a sensor thing. Small matter. This is the first time it's been introduced into the X70, so there could be some niggles here and there. Okay, next, inside you get ventilated front seats. So the front seats will have air coming through the perforations in the leather. This is on the premium version, so we are trying out the premium X70, which has everything, everything in the except the kitchen sink. So
exactly,
this is for your ventilated seat controls, but you got to go in through the infotainment system, and 2 steps where first step you got to hit into the menu, then enter the HVAC
sure,
section.
Not 2 steps, not 3 steps.
3 steps.
Kira balik.
Okay, count.
Start from home.
Okay, then first step is.
So that's 1 step tekan home.
Okay, that's 1 step, home, and then you go to
2
HVAC,
steps.
2 step. And then it's 3 steps, okay. 3 steps, but 2 steps to reach to this screen, which controls most of the air conditioning functions. If you don't want to use the low, high, whatever stuff here. Alright, so it has ventilated front seats now compared to the earlier one, which has also the high proton talking system and digital display, blah 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 and all. But this variant also doesn't have a sunroof, because this is the premium one without a sunroof, which a lot of people somehow said that we want everything in the car, but we don't want a sunroof. So this variant that we are testing, the premium 1.8 liter engine version, does not come with a sunroof, but comes with every other thing. And this new one comes with ventilated front seats. So it's a good thing, because leather seats and all, you tend to be a bit sweaty and it's a bit warm there at the back. So it's quite a good thing. Then next, you have rear reclining seats. The seat can recline between a 27 to 32 degrees angle, so your seat back can recline. It doesn't move forward or what. It is not a full Ottoman where you can recline, like it's not an S-Class Mercedes-Benz or something like that. So but you still get to recline. That means if this is a car you have a driver, you want to sit at the back after a hard day's work, or your kids just like to lay a bit more on a reclined position, that's a good thing to have. So it's split 60-40 also, so it's quite good on that point. Interior wise, it's basically the same in terms of quality of plastics. Fit and finish, exterior, interior, if you're not looking too detailed enough, you know, like you want to look at the shut and crack lines or shut lines or whatever lines, it seems to be as good as the fully imported ones from China. So aside from that, what else is there? Aside from that, everything looks the same. Infotainment system the same, display is the same, steering wheel is the same, controls are the same. There are no pedal shifters. There's a new gear knob, however. There's a new gear knob. The new gear knob inside is because I think it also represents, because it has a new 7-speed DCT transmission gearbox. So new 7-speed, which means it has more gear ratios to play with. It actually makes the car drive quite nicer in some ways. Shifting is quite smooth. It's not a sporty gearbox. It's basically tuned for efficiency and as to make it as economical as possible. And it also it doesn't have any slur. It's still quite decent for a DCT. It doesn't shift as fast as something like Volkswagen's DSG gearbox, which is, I think, on this point is okay because it's more of a family cruiser or just an executive cruiser than a performance oriented SUV, let's put it that way. So what else is there? Gear ratios are of course better because there's 7 instead of 6, so everything is nicely spaced out a bit more, I suppose, because it does make the car feel a bit more nimble and all. In terms of gear shifts is smooth, upshifts are smooth, downshifts are also quite smooth and all. A bit slow if you're even gunning it even in sports mode. There's sports, eco mode, and you can do feel a bit of it's a bit tuned for efficiency and economy. It's not, you know, it doesn't want to gun the whole car. So anyway, this transmission, however, is also connected to the same 1.8 liter direct injection petrol engine, but it makes a bit more torque, from 285 Newton meters to about 300 Newton meters right now. Horsepower is the same at about 180 horsepower. So the extra bit of torque actually helps a heavy car like this X70, which in this full premium spec comes in at about almost 1,700 kilos. So a bit extra 50 Newton meters actually helps and all. With the gearbox and all, when you take it on a windy stretch, like say up and down Karak Highway, which we did, car seems to be a bit more vibrant, a bit more happy to you know, climb up the hills and go down the hills and attack the corners and all. So mid-range power seems to be decent and all. No complaints on that. Of course, I would love to have a 2.5 liter twin turbo V6 or something like that, but for what Proton should be trying to sell this price, or the price market, it's no such thing. So it's good enough for that. And then engine tuning aside, it has a new engine cover. For those who like a bit of aesthetic and cosmetic value, the engine bay has a new engine cover, you know, with some words on it. You see when I put up all the pictures and all. First time in this new 2020 model. You can see the previous video of it. I'll link it up. Where is it? Here. Was it here? Anyway, the standard YouTube thing, the link will be up there for the first drive of the X70 when it was launched in Malaysia, and this is the first drive of the 2020 X70. So what else is there? In terms of acceleration, that extra torque and this new gearbox actually makes the X70 have a 0 to 100 time of 9.5 seconds according to manufacturer, according to Proton. So it shaves 1 second off the 0 to 100 time, which means it is a nippier car. It does feel like a nippier car than before. It feels much more nimble. But I would say the nimbleness also comes because Proton has actually set up this car with slightly retuned suspension. Most likely they have retuned the dampers. The bound-rebound rates are actually quite better and all. It does feel a bit more pliant and all, mid-corner, exiting a corner and all. Everything feels a bit more planted. At higher speeds, you're talking about when you're whacking it, say above 120 and maybe 30, 40, 50, you know, 20, 30, 40 kilometers more than that. It still feels stable en route to Kuantan, you know. So quite a unique car, quite a nice car to drive fast. You won't enjoy it. It's adequately good to drive fast. You know, I'm not saying that it's going to be a sports car and all, but you can actually like, oh, I need to go and eat some ikan bakar or some fried fish in Kuantan. I need to go there fast. You can do so. You can cruise comfortably at say 160 kilometers per hour if you wanted to do so in this 2020 edition of the Proton X70. So Proton has added a little bit of their Protonness into their ride and handling, definitely. So it's a very good thing on that. So this is a better driver's car than the previous X70, which actually felt quite good already in certain ways. It felt a bit heavy because of the weight and all. So now it's less lethargic, and now it's a bit more nimble too in terms of how it corners and all. So it's a nice car overall for what it is, and not a sports SUV plus, but for what it is, for the money that Proton will charge for it. Most likely, we do not know about how much it's actually going to cost when it's launched, because this is a pre-launch drive, and it should come up about the same price or slightly cheaper because of local assembly. Let's hope it's cheaper. So anyway, that is the basic changes of the car. Now we go to the faults. For me, there are two faults. When we're cruising at higher speeds, this is in excess of 140 kilometers per hour. There's a bit of buffeting and all, where the wind actually enters through the seals in the front doors on the passenger side and the driver's side. So there might be some extra buffeting and wind. Most likely it's a manufacturing issue because of conversion and all, because usually in most SUVs you see a lot of noise coming from the A-pillars above 120 kilometers per hour. That's quite acceptable in most SUVs. There have been some air leaks, I would say, wind buffeting and all. So that could be corrected when the production gets better and they become more fluid and all. So it's quite a good thing. So on that point, it's okay. One more thing is the infotainment system. It's still a bit wonky in terms of navigation. Other than that, it's nice. The touchscreen works well. There's a lot of information on the display. You still can use the high Proton and talk and all. No sunroof to close and all, but you can use it for the windows and everything like that. So it's quite okay. The thing is, the Baidu-based navigation system is still a bit wonky. It will give you instructions a little bit later than usual. Like say just before it turns, then only it wants you to turn. By that time, you might miss the thing, and that's an issue over there. So now, and then secondly, if you are the grammar police, my god, man, the grammar is worse than mine. So it's like Yoda talking, but Yoda worse. So think about that. If you are grammar police or grammar Nazi, you'll be very offended by how the infotainment system gives you the instructions. It's like, yeah, you will know it if you try it.
After 100
right,
meters,
man.
keep left ahead driving.
But they're DRLs, right?
Keep left
Yeah.
ahead driving.
This awful, I can't see shit.
Now I can see.
You can't see shit.
After 1.2 kilometers, keep right, go straight and drive along.
If you try it. So aside from that, I'm quite happy with this 2020 version of the X70. It's nice. First time, it's as nice as the first time I tried this X70 when it was launched. Now with a bit more extra refinements and extra handling, I think it's a good car. I'm only waiting to know how much it's going to cost. Cost is always on our minds here in Malaysia, because it's important with things going up and up and up and up. So anyway, I'm Rikwal Reza for Motoring Malaysia. Do subscribe if you want content like this, more content like this, and give us a thumbs up if you like this kind of review. Don't mind some show at the back, and it's okay, you're sleepy. And if you don't like our content, click on the dislike button twice, eh? Okay, till later. Yeah.
Bluetooth.
Oof.